The alert arrives at 3:47 a.m. Not a test, not a drill. The tone cuts through the darkness with mechanical certainty. Your phone vibrates against the nightstand, then your neighbor's phone, then every phone on your street. The emergency alert system doesn't say much. Seek shelter immediately. Await further instructions. That's all. No context, no explanation. Just 14 words that split your life into before and after. You stumble to the window. The street lights are still on. Cars sit dormant in driveways. Everything looks normal, which makes the sirens in the distance feel wrong. You check your phone again. News sites are loading slowly, crashing, reloading. Twitter is a wall of confusion. Someone says missiles. Someone says cyber-attic. Someone says it's already over. You don't know who to believe. Your hands are shaking, not from cold, from the sudden understanding that the systems you trusted to keep you informed are failing in the exact moment you need them most. This is not how you imagined war. There are no formations of tanks, no fighter jets screaming overhead, just silence broken by digital alerts and the growing realization that the world you woke up in no longer exists. As millions of people reach for their phones, check their locks, and try to make sense of contradictory headlines, one truth becomes clear. The infrastructure you depend on is not built for this, and neither are you. In the first 6 hours, the confusion deepens. Some cities report explosions. Others report nothing. The internet works in fragments. You can access some sites, but not others. Social media is a storm of unverified videos. Someone films a flash on the horizon. Someone else claims it's fake. Your news apps are frozen on articles from 20 minutes ago. The live streams stutter and die. You switch to radio. Local stations are playing emergency broadcasts on repeat. Same message. Stay indoors. Seal windows. Do not leave unless instructed. But instructed by whom? The voice on the radio doesn't say. Your neighborhood is split. Some people are loading cars. Others are standing in their yards, staring at phones, waiting for clarity. You see a man dragging cases of water from his garage to his truck. His wife is yelling at him to hurry. 2 houses down, a family sits on their porch, watching. They haven't moved. They look paralyzed. You realize you're frozen too. Part of you wants to act. Pack bags, fill containers, drive somewhere safer. But where is safer? The highways are already clogged. You can see the glow of brake lights in the distance, a red river flowing nowhere. The power is still on, but it flickers. Once, twice, then it holds. You fill the bathtub with water. You fill every container you can find, pots, bottles, the kitchen sink. You work quickly, mechanically, like you're following instructions you never actually learned. By the time you're done, your back is sore and your hands are wet. You sit on the bathroom floor and listen. The sirens have stopped. The silence that replaces them is worse. It feels like the world is holding its breath. At hour 7, the grid fails. Not everywhere, just your section of the city. The lights die. The refrigerator stops humming. The Wi-Fi router goes dark. You try your phone. It still has battery, but there's no signal. You step outside. The street is black. No porch lights. No glow from windows. Just the distant orange haze of fires somewhere beyond the skyline. You can hear voices, shouting. A car alarm, then more voices closer now. Your neighbor is standing in his driveway with a flashlight. He waves it at you. Do you know what happened? He asks. You shake your head. I heard it was an EMP, or a nuke. Someone said the base got hit. You don't respond. You don't know what to say. The base is 30 miles away. If it got hit with a nuclear weapon, you would have felt it. You would have seen the flash, but maybe not. Maybe the missiles came in low. Maybe they hit at night when you weren't looking. Maybe the warheads were smaller than you imagined. Every scenario feels possible and impossible at the same time. By morning, the confusion gives way to a new kind of order. It's not government order, it's survival order. The gas stations that still have power are surrounded by cars. Lines stretch for blocks. People are shouting. Someone tries to cut in line and a fight breaks out. You watch from a distance. You're not sure you have enough fuel to reach the pump. And even if you did, you're not sure you want to stand in that crowd. Desperation makes people dangerous. The grocery store is worse. The doors are open, but the lights are off. People are moving through the aisles with phone flashlights, grabbing whatever they can reach. There's no register, no payment system, just hands pulling cans and boxes off shelves. You see a woman with 3 full carts, a man shoving bread into a duffel bag. A teenager carrying a case of energy drinks toward the exit. No one stops him. There's no one to stop him. The staff are gone. The manager is gone. The structure that held this place together is gone. You walk in, you need food. You move quickly, avoiding eye contact. You take what's left on the shelves. Canned soup, pasta, rice, peanut butter. You don't think about meals. You think about calories. You think about shelf life. You think about the weight of the bag and whether you can carry it home. Someone bumps into you. You flinch. They don't apologize. They just keep moving. You realize everyone in this building is thinking the same thing. Get what you need. Get out. Don't get hurt. Outside, the city feels different. It's only been 12 hours, but the atmosphere has shifted. People are moving with purpose, not the lazy drift of normal life. This is sharper, focused. You see groups forming, neighbors clustering together on porches. Some streets have barricades, trash cans, furniture, cars pulled across intersections. You don't know if they're keeping people out or keeping people in. Maybe both. The radio crackles back to life. A voice cuts through the static. This is the emergency broadcast system. A state of national emergency has been declared. All citizens are advised to remain indoors. Martial law is in effect in the following regions. The voice lists cities. Yours is one of them. The voice continues. Water and food distribution points will be established. Do not approach military or law enforcement personnel unless directed. Curfew is in effect from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. Violators will be detained. You sit in your darkened living room and try to process the words. Martial law, curfew, detained. These are terms you've heard in movies and history documentaries. Not in your life. Not in your country. But here they are, delivered in a calm, automated voice that makes them sound routine. By the end of the first week, the initial shock fades. What replaces it is exhaustion. You are tired of rationing food, tired of boiling water, tired of sleeping in your clothes because the heat is off and the temperature has dropped. You are tired of not knowing. The radio provides updates, but they are vague. The fighting continues. Strikes have been reported in multiple regions. Casualties are significant. Infrastructure damage is severe. That's all they say. No numbers, no locations. No timeline for when things might return to normal. Your supplies are dwindling. The food you grabbed from the store is half gone. You've been careful, eating small portions, stretching meals as far as they'll go, but there are limits. You can't create calories out of nothing. The water in the tub is stale. You boil it before drinking, but it tastes metallic. You wonder if it's safe. You wonder if anything is safe. Outside, the streets are quieter. Fewer people are moving during the day. The curfew is enforced. You've seen the patrols. Military trucks rolling slowly through intersections. Soldiers with rifles standing at checkpoints. They don't talk to civilians. They just watch. You stay inside. You don't want to test their patience. Your neighbor, the one with the flashlight, knocks on your door. He looks thinner. His eyes are hollow. He asks if you have any food to spare. You hesitate. You don't have much. But you give him a can of soup. He thanks you. He tells you his family hasn't eaten in 2 days. He tells you the distribution point never opened. He tells you people are getting sick. You close the door and lean against it. You feel guilty for having anything at all. The second week is worse. The power comes back in some areas, but not yours. You hear generators running a few blocks away. You hear music, laughter. It feels obscene. How can anyone be laughing? You walk toward the sound one evening, just to see. You find a house with lights blazing, people inside, a party or something like it. You stand at the fence and watch. One of them notices you. He raises a glass. You turn and walk away. The water stops running. Not slowly, all at once. You turn the tap and nothing comes out. You check the other faucets, the toilet, the shower. All dry? You still have a few bottles left, maybe 3 days' worth if you're careful. You think about the distribution point. You think about the line, the crowd, the risk. You decide to wait one more day. By day 10, you can't wait anymore. You leave at dawn, before the sun rises, hoping to avoid the crowds. You walk 6 blocks to the distribution point. There's already a line, hundreds of people. They stretch down the street, around the corner, out of sight. You take your place at the end. The line doesn't move. Hours pass. The sun climbs. The heat builds. People around you are restless. Someone faints. Someone else starts shouting at the front of the line. You can't hear what they're saying. You just see the movement, the surge. Then the soldiers step in. You hear orders. You hear a gunshot. The crowd scatters. You run. You don't look back. You don't know if anyone was hit. You just run until your lungs burn and your legs ache, and you're back on your street, empty-handed, gasping for air. That night you hear explosions. Not close, but not far. The windows rattle. You huddle in the basement with a flashlight and a blanket, and you wait. The radio is dead. The battery finally gave out. You have no information, no updates. Just the sound of distant thunder that isn't thunder. By the 3rd week, your body is failing. You've lost weight. Your hands tremble. You can't focus. You try to ration the last of your food, but hunger is a constant ache that won't let you sleep. You drink water you're not sure is clean. You have no choice. Dehydration will kill you faster than contamination. Your street is emptier now. Some houses are boarded up. Some are burned. You don't know what happened. You just know they're gone. The neighbor who asked for food hasn't come back. You knock on his door. No answer. You push it open. The house is empty. No furniture. No food. No people. Just the smell of something sour and wrong. You leave quickly. The 4th week is a blur. You're sick, fever, chills, vomiting. You can't keep anything down. You lie on the floor of your living room and stare at the ceiling. You think about the life you had before. The job, the routines, the complaints about traffic and bills and trivial things that felt important. You would give anything to have those problems again. You don't die, not yet. The fever breaks, you survive. But you're weaker. You can barely stand. You crawl to the kitchen and drink the last of the water. It's warm and tastes like plastic. It's the best thing you've ever had. By the 6th week, something changes. The patrols become more frequent. The radio comes back, a new voice, more official, more confident. Reconstruction efforts are underway. Temporary shelters have been established. Food and medical aid are being distributed in the following zones. The voice lists addresses. Yours is not one of them. But it's something. It's the first piece of real information you've had in weeks. You walk to the nearest zone. It's 10 miles away. You walk slowly, stopping every few blocks to rest. You pass other people. Some are walking the same direction. Some are sitting on curbs, too tired to continue. You don't stop. You can't. If you stop, you won't start again. The shelter is a school. The parking lot is full of tents. The smell hits you first. Sweat and sickness and too many bodies and too little space. You get in line. This time the line moves. Slowly, but it moves. When you reach the front, a volunteer hands you a bottle of water and a packet of crackers. You drink the water in 3 long gulps. You eat the crackers, standing up. They taste like dust. You don't care. Inside the school, there are cots, rows and rows of cots. People lying down, sitting up, talking in low voices. A medical station is set up in the corner. You wait in line again. A nurse checks your pulse, your temperature, your eyes. She tells you you're dehydrated and malnourished. She gives you an 4. You sit on a cot with a needle in your arm and watch the bag slowly drain. You stay at the shelter for a week. The food is basic. Rice, beans, canned vegetables, but it's regular. You eat 3 times a day. Your strength returns. You talk to other survivors. You hear their stories. A man who lost his family. A woman who walked 30 miles. A teenager who hasn't spoken since the first night. Everyone has a story. Everyone has lost something. The radio continues. The fighting is slowing. Ceasefires are being negotiated. Aid is coming from other countries. Rebuilding will take years, maybe decades. The voice doesn't promise normal. It promises survival. That's all anyone can hope for now. You think about going home, but home doesn't exist anymore. Not the way it did. The house might still be standing, but the life you lived there is gone. The job is gone. The routines are gone. The certainty is gone. You're alive, but you're not the same. No one is. This is why you wouldn't survive World War III. Not because of the bombs or the bullets. Not because of radiation or fallout. You wouldn't survive because survival requires preparation, skills, community, and luck. It requires water storage and food reserves and medical knowledge and physical endurance. It requires mental resilience and the ability to adapt when every system you relied on collapses in a single night. Most people have none of these things. Most people have refrigerators full of food that spoils in 3 days. Most people have medicine they can't refill. Most people have neighbors they've never met. Most people have jobs and routines and assumptions about how the world works. When those assumptions shatter, most people shatter with them. You survived this scenario because the script allowed it, because the camera lingered just long enough for you to make the right choice at the right moment. The narrator needed a witness, a body moving forward so the story didn't collapse under its own weight. Survival here is a narrative convenience, a checkbox marked hope in the outline. Outside the frame, the margin is thinner than paper. Variables multiply, turn hostile, refuse to be solved. There are no clean options, only delays, only losses. In reality, mistakes don't rewind, they calcify. You wouldn't have the knowledge handed to you in exposition, the calm voice explaining what to do next. You wouldn't have the supplies stacked neatly in a backpack, still sealed, still useful. You wouldn't have the strength you think you'd find when it mattered. Fear eats calories. Panic drains muscle. Time robs everyone evenly. And when the alerts came at 3:47 a.m., shrill and vague and late, you wouldn't leap into action. You'd squint at your phone, heart pounding, waiting for a follow-up notification to explain the first one. It wouldn't come. You'd refresh the feed, scroll through speculation, rumors, denial. You'd tell yourself to wait 10 more minutes. Everyone does. The world doesn't end with a bang. It ends with confusion and hunger and exhaustion. It ends with empty grocery stores where shelves echo, with dry taps you keep checking anyway, with generators coughing their last breaths. It ends with people being polite for too long, then not polite at all. It ends with the slow, terrible realization that help isn't coming. Not fast enough, not for everyone, not for you. And there is no narrator left to explain what happens next. Silence settles in after, heavy, unanswered, teaching you how survival was never promised by any story. This is the truth behind the title. This is the reality of modern war. It doesn't care about your plans or your optimism or your belief that someone will fix it. It only cares about who was ready. And you weren't.